We are a group of friends, bound by our appreciation for liberty and good podcasting. Free-minded thinkers from all walks of life, our values come together with one accord to discuss the common culture and news of the day, along with whatever random crap is going on in our lives. Welcome to the Union of the Unknowns.
This is the fourth episode of Union of the Unknowns. We are so excited to be back with you guys again. This is fantastic. And who would have known you could use a cell phone from space? That's pretty awesome. Anyhow, we wanted to get today started. We were going to talk about the Guidestones, but you know what? We were talking about agricultural stuff before we even started with the Guidestones. I feel like even though I interrupted that conversation because it was going so smoothly, but that's what happens when you're going to start a podcast. You get to all the good shit before you get started. So anyways, whatever you guys want to talk about, if you guys want to start with the Guidestones, I know Keel was wanting to get into that. No?
Well, I covered it on the last episode at the end. All I wanted to say was that, really nothing had changed apart from the actual stones now are in the hands of the Elberton Granite Association. The county gave it to them, so they have it. They're supposed to put it in a museum that they also administer, and that's about it. The land that they were on, is going to go back to the original owner of the land, and that's it.
So they didn't buy that?
It was kind of subleased, sorta, from the original owners. They were allowed to kind of own it or something, but I don't remember exactly what the arrangement was, but the land that they were on is going to be completely back with the original owners, which are the farm that it surrounds it right there.
Is there any paper trail back to who originally leased that land and who originally bought the stone?
The guy, R.C. Christian, who was their representative, and I don't know if that guy is still alive or not, but he's the only person who would really know the answer to who the original people were that put the money up and commissioned the thing.
And not for nothing, no shade on you, but that definitely sounds like a fake name.
Yeah, it is.
It was a pseudonym.
No, it's just a pseudonym.
Yeah.
I did watch a little documentary this week, Keel, about that, and they were interviewing. I tried to find it again. Of course, after I found it on Odyssey, I wasn't able to find it again. But they did some digging, and this sounded fishy to me, but they were talking with the man who, I think it was his father that was sort of like heading the project, but he did help his dad. He still had some of the paperwork residual, like he knew who was RC Christian. But these guys doing the documentary seemed to kind of think that it led back to this man in I don't know. Did we already talk about this in the Discord? In Middle America? Maybe Indiana or something like that, Illinois, I don't know. But they basically were like, no, it's just a couple of guys who just, I don't know. It just sounded like nonsense to me. I feel like it's globalist.
Yeah, I don't know. It was definitely a group of people with an agenda. I mean, it wasn't just a couple of knuckleheads who were wanting to put up something fancy,
Yeah, I mean,
there was some thought put into it.
Yes, and they made it sound like these guys were not dumb. I mean, they were well off in their area or whatever, but it certainly did not tie them to the globalist cabal.
Now, the original documentation that came along with the Guidestones when they originally put it up specifies that the county or whoever, if the Guidestones were ever to be destroyed for whatever reason, that they were supposed to rebuild them, but the county has decided not to do that. Like I said, they're handing it off to this Granite Association, so they may rebuild it, but they'll probably just put it in a museum. But the GBI is still investigating who did it. They have a video of somebody running up to the Guidestones and then leaving the bomb and then running away. But the surveillance video is so bad, you can't see any details. And then that silver car driving off, that's the only clues they have, or that they've released anyway.
Very interesting. So as a newcomer and being very, like, let's just say new to the understanding of these Guidestones, do you mind breaking down the original, like where they came from? I mean, the origin story for me, like.
Sure. There was a granite company that was approached by their representative, R.C. Christian, a pseudonym, of course. But he represented a group of beneficiaries who had these specifications for cutting these big granite slabs and the verbiage that was supposed to be put on there. And so the granite company, from what I heard, they kind of didn't want to do it because it was so weird of a request. So they put out this exorbitant, estimate for how much it would cost, and the guy immediately said yes. So they got paid a lot of money to create those stones, and they put it out in Elberton, Georgia, and it was sitting up there. I don't know if you've ever seen the pictures, but it's kind of Stonehenge-esque. There are these big, very tall, 20-something foot high, thick, solid granite slabs with, in different languages, they have these sort of this post-apocalyptic agenda written on there. Things like, guidelines for the preservation of human
Do you mind if
civilization.
I read the 10 things that
Sure, go ahead.
were inscribed? All right, so number 1 is maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Number 2 is guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Number 3 is unite humanity with a living new language. Number 4 is rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Number 5 is protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Number 6 is let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. Number 7 is avoid petty laws and useless officials. Number 8 is balance personal rights with social duties. Number 9 is prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. And number 10 is be not a cancer on the earth, leave room for nature, leave room for nature.
Yeah, so that was chiseled in several languages on all the stones. I think there were 4 stones arranged, upright in an X formation, and then there was another stone placed on top, kind of like Stonehenge, and it was oriented based on astrological, like it was in line with the summer solstice kind of thing, like you could see the sun rise in the one end.
Not to interrupt,
yeah,
but so what you're saying, what he just read, those 10 whatever, like the 10 commandments or whatnot, was written on the stones when they were arranged? Is that like a tablet kind of deal?
Yes.
Is that what I'm getting here?
Yeah, like the 10 commandments would have had them chiseled in the stone. So
it's like a giant tablet.
Yeah.
Like if the 10 commandments were on something that was, a foot by 2 feet or something, this is the same type of thing, but 15 feet by 8 feet or something like that on 3 giant tablets with
but the same concept. It's etched in the stone.
Yes,
Yes.
it's etched in the stone. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure that I'm understanding correctly.
And so they had a plot of land about, I think it was 5 acres. I may be wrong about that. And they placed them in the certain orientation as requested in the initial commission. And then they also had a slab that was placed in 1980, if I remember correctly. And then there was another slab placed years later, just a couple years later, that specified that 6 feet below that slab was a time capsule. Now the date, they had a place to put the date. It said this time capsule was placed on, but that date was blank. And when they dug it up recently, so they claim, there was nothing underneath it. But the slab had directions to the Granite Museum, which didn't exist until 1982. I couldn't find the exact date when the slab was placed with the time capsule verbiage on it, but it must have been sometime after 1982.
Interesting. I mean, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I was just going to ramble on about it some more, but you
Go-
chime
no,
in anytime.
I just have a question about the slab and everything. So the slab, you said 1982, and that
Yeah.
isn't.
So
Oh, go ahead. You
just
guys go.
to put a little context to it, what I'm reading is in June of 79,
Mhm.
the man using the pseudonym RC Christian approached that group of people to build this thing, and it looks like they, like you said, kill Thor, after offering an exorbitant amount of money in 1980 is when they actually unveiled the thing. So we're talking 42 years ago now
Yeah.
is when it was built.
The biggest concern, Jay Willie, is everybody's looking at that keep and maintain the population at 500 million. And then if you tie that into what we were talking about on the last episode, where we're talking about food and just the current lifestyle in general, you can kind of tie in a lot of the current thing stories, whatever you want to call it, the news of the day, into whoever made those Guidestones is trying to get humanity towards that 500 million number, is how I interpret it.
Mhm.
From what I understand, that's 100% the most important part of the Guidestones is getting the population down to
Yeah.
500 million. And we're at 7.5 billion right now. So,
Yeah.
and from what we've seen with COVID and everything that the elites have been talking about in recent years, is depopulation is the #1 aspect. What's
Yeah,
up, Maddox?
that's what Bill Gates talks about, right? Reducing the population.
Well, I mean, with those Georgia Guidestones and all that, that 500 million thing. Thank you guys for all waving to my kid. I just screamed like a wild bird to make him come down here. But anywho, I'm just saying, with that 500 million, is that really enough people? I mean, with 500 million, you got to be busting your tail to survive. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they're off. I mean, Ashley, what do you think? Is that a viable amount? 500 million?
As far as that goes, I couldn't say. My thought is that maybe they thought that their technology would be so advanced by that time that they would not need more people, because they'll have like the AI slave system already built by that point. That's sort of what I was thinking. And the other thing is like, what is the game plan here, guy? Like, do you not realize that you are the people that have enabled the earth to be poisoned? Like, you're trying to make people infertile with all of the forever chemicals that you have allowed to continue to be into production. All of these endocrine disruptors in our, like, all these chemicals, perfume, food, receipts, etc. So I have no idea. I feel like maybe they didn't plan it out very well. I don't know.
Before I can let you interject, do you really, I mean, to me, it's hard to believe that whoever the higher ups or whatever you want to call them, that their end game plan is really to reduce population. I just feel like then they would have to work. Like, why don't they just sit how they're sitting now and just kind of, they don't have to do anything. So why would they want to reduce? Like, people have to farm the land. You know what I'm saying? People have to raise the cattle. People have to make the little things that make the t-shirts and the pants. Like, there's so many jobs and distribution within there. Like, reducing the population means, like, we're going to take the top 1% of people. Let's just say we take the 1% of people, and it's like, okay, you do spinach now. You do potatoes. You do beef. They're not going to do that. They don't want to do that.
Think about, Galt's Gulch and Atlas Shrugged. That was kind of like that.
If you haven't read Atlas Shrugged, do so for sure. But
they know that there is going to be automation. Like, I literally saw a video where it was like, oh, it's $8 and a 15-minute manicure, where it was this robot that you stuck your hand in and it painted your nails for you. And all I kept imagining was, I guess it was a paintbrush, but all I kept imagining was, like, if it was on this needle and then it's going to, like, freak out and go right through my finger. I was like, oh no.
Funny story. Did you see the kids playing chess against the robots, and the kid made the misstep and the robot grabbed its hand, and the kid's hand, like, what was he, like 10, and like broke his finger.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because he put his hand in the wrong spot and it was like beep beep beep, and he was like, that's what the first thing that came to my mind when you said automated, that's gonna just scam you one day. Someone's gonna get screwed.
Hopefully it's the Predator class.
10 years from now, when the robots have taken over, they're going to look back at that incident and say that was the beginning of their freedom.
That was the Boston Massacre. Yeah, that was the shot heard around the world.
Yeah.
Let me throw something at you. Here we go. Do you think The Matrix happens first or I, Robot happens first? Where everyone has, like, automated robots walking around and being their maids, or we get plugged into the metaverse first?
Well,
what do you think comes first?
iRobot happens and then the Matrix happens eventually.
Yeah, that's the timeline I'm thinking. I'm right with you. Tesla's releasing a personal robot next year.
And I wanted to chime in a couple of quick things, because Jackie, I think the history based on the book Dissolving Illusions, which is available in audio form on Odyssey for free, it actually says that even like the very beginning, like smallpox was nonsense, polio was nonsense. So I think it goes all the way back, even before the Rockefellers got involved. But you might know more history on it, than I do in that way. But personally, I think that they have never been good for us. Now, learning what I've learned. The other thing I wanted to say is that I think that Amazon actually has factory now that there's like 1 or 2 people that run the whole thing, and it's creepy. They don't even need they don't need lights, because it's all, the robots that are running the show. It's nuts.
That's cool. I think that's cool. I think automation is cool when it happens organically. But when companies decide to fire all of their low-level workers because they can't afford them, because of whatever minimum wages that are going up and unions are screaming and regulations are going crazy, and it's just less expensive just to put robots in place. I don't like that.
Are often propped up by government programs like Amazon and Tesla and Facebook. They never would have existed without the government helping them found it on stolen money.
Elon Musk is a welfare queen.
He's a shill. Elon Musk is a shill.
Maybe so, but he does say some cool stuff. I'll give him
Oh,
that.
from time to time.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, imagine how expensive groceries are, right? And people were like, well, if you don't have the employees, then stuff will be cheaper and your prices won't go up, blah, 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 which I disagree with, because if you look at it, we're all our own bag person now, and we're even a cashier at the
Yeah.
grocery store, right?
Well,
We don't get paid
no.
to be our own cashier, and the groceries are just as expensive.
They're a little more expensive than normal. I mean,
Right.
gas is coming down, but at the same time, it's like, hey, it was 260, and then it went up to 560, and it's like, hey, it's 480 now. You're good. It's like, okay, like it's still double.
I was paying $6.09, and now they want me to be happy to be paying $5 a gallon.
even
Fuck
though
you.
even though it was fucking whatever. Excuse my language, but
You're
Biden's
good.
best week ever.
it's
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Biden.
Now
But it's
Biden says we have zero inflation, even though everything's double what the price was last year.
Yeah.
But we have zero inflation, maybe from last month.
maybe well, because the 8.3% inflation maintained. Man,
Yeah.
I'm listening to these. Okay, this is gonna be counter to what we're probably all feeling here, but I listen to all these financial economics, blah 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 blah. These guys are saying that even though, you know how they're saying we've had our 2 whatever quarters of negative and we went to the recession, blah blah blah, we're technically in a recession. We're technically not in a recession because all these other countries, Europe, everywhere, dude, is so strained. Their dollar value or whatever, their yen, their euro, all that has dropped so much in value that we are not in a recession. We're actually better off than we were because all these other countries are getting strained.
Yeah,
so
because of the fact that the euro has dropped so bad that
Yeah,
it
and
makes the US
the-
dollar look good. I went to Ireland in 2015, and the US dollar was €1 was like $1.50 of a US dollar. So it costs $1.50 of my money to buy a euro worth of their stuff.
get
And
candy.
now the euro, last I looked, was even with the dollar.
Even, bro.
How's
Yeah.
the ruble looking?
The ruble's looking fucking fantastic.
Balling.
Those motherfuckers
These fuckers
are
killing, man. These
killing it.
oligarchs.
The more sanctions that are put on Russia, the more money they make.
Hey, let me tell you
And they
something.
don't need McDonald's. They don't need fucking
Did you hear-
Coca-Cola
no,
or
did you hear
Pepsi
what
Cola or
happened?
any of that shit.
Did you hear what happened? McDonald's pulled out. Coca-Cola.
Yeah, but
pulled
McDonald's
out,
didn't really
Pepsi
pull out.
pulled out, and
Here's
then
what really
Russian local-
happened.
Russian
Here's what
local
happened
companies
with
took over
McDonald's.
everything. They got
McDonald's
full infrastructure.
wasn't going to allow their name to be used. So what happened was
It's
they
big and tasty.
kept all their same employees, all the same buildings, all the same food and shit like that, and just made them change the name of it so it wasn't McDonald's there
Yeah,
because they didn't want to be
but McDonald's
recognized
doesn't get-
as a
they don't
company
get a
in
cut
Russia.
anymore. They don't get a cut anymore. They
Yeah, they
pulled
do.
out.
They've
So
got
look,
to.
now,
I don't
these
think so. Wouldn't
oligarchs
they
took
have
it.
just changed the
I
name
don't
of it
believe
and
that.
started?
Yeah,
They probably just
they
started a
started
Russian
all they-
company.
All the Coca-Cola.
Come on now. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
They just started a
I
Russian
think
company.
McDonald's is all
No, that's
in
what I'm
on
saying.
it.
They started a Russian company, changed the name to whatever
Yes.
They
similar
changed
Russian
the
name is.
name and
Yeah.
kept
Full infrastructure.
Okay.
They just
Right.
Yeah.
the
100%.
oligarchs that we're all
100%.
talking shit about just bought all this stuff, and now they have Coca-Cola plants, McDonald's, but it's big and tasty Russian cola or whatever.
for
But it's
sure.
they have all the ingredients.
But if
they
you
have
don't
all
think
the
Coca-Cola
recipes.
and McDonald's are still making money off of that, you're fucking
Oh,
crazy.
for sure. They probably
Let me take my trademark shot at libertarianism. I'll hit one of these days. How does protectionism sound in Russia? I mean, sounds pretty good to me. I don't know. They're keeping their business home, and all the U.S. sanctions has only strengthened their economy, and It seems like the Russian people have gotten a bump now that the U.S. has put their target on them.
Yeah, I think they. I mean, I haven't been following it that closely, so but I think they're doing fine without even with our our restrictions and things. I don't think we're hurting them really at all in that respect.
They're doing better than they ever were before we put the sanctions on them.
Falling.
I used to be like a free market absolutist and libertarianism. Free markets solve everything. But lately, I don't know. Look at West Virginia. Has free markets solved West Virginia? I mean, like, has free markets solved the Rust Belt? Like, if anything, like, it's just created this ultra elite, ultra blue, ultra forgive my language, gay laptop class. And there's no men anymore.
Whoa. I'm just kidding.
Well, what caused all the problems in that area to begin with? As far as I know, it was the industry got overregulated to hell, and the big manufacturing companies just pushed all of their plants out of the country because it was far less expensive to operate that way.
That's the biggest argument against it. But at the same point, when America gets richer, it's always going to be cheaper, whether regulation or not. It's going to be cheaper to ship it over to China. I agree that regulations probably gave it the boot, but I think we were probably leaning that way. Regulations or not.
The answer to what you're saying is, let's just, as a society, take pride and pay more for something made in our neighborhood or our country. That's the only answer to this exporting thing.
Yeah.
That's the only answer. Like, look, the boots are $30 or $100. Made in the USA, made in China. Those are made by, it's like slave labor making those.
Yeah.
And us being cheapskates and buying the cheap shit is what the problem is. We need to just.
The correct answer to that boot question is buy Red Wings. They're made in America and they're the best boots ever. Buy Red Wings.
I mean, everything though. You know what I'm saying?
Bro,
Like, we go to Walmart and
that's
buy the
fucking-
wall clock. It has
sorry
mercury in it.
to talk over you, Jay Will,
you're
but
good.
Toons, that's good to hear because I didn't know anything about Red Wing, but my company gives me $175 a year to spend at either the Red Wing store or the Whistle Workwear store. And the first couple years we only could use it at Red Wing, so I got their shoes, but I've been going to Whistle Workwear and getting Reeboks, and if Red Wing's better, I'll go back to getting their shoes.
Let me do a caveat real quick. And Red Wing
it.
does carry like China made. They also do carry like made in USA. But Red Wing is all out everywhere. They're the most comfortable boot, the best boot. But they also, you have to look at the label too to see which one is made here. Obviously, it's a little more expensive.
Yeah, I mean that's correct. I mean you're
I don't
right.
have to pay for it, so for me it's just picking what's the most comfortable and best looking. I sit at a desk every day, but I have to wear steel toes because I walk
Yeah,
out on the
factory
warehouse floor.
warehouse. Yeah, I mean you're right. We should all buy local stuff. That's going to be the best for our community. But I mean, you can't expect everybody to do that, and so
Well,
we are where we are. If you can afford it, yeah, go do it.
the problem with it is we give such a break to these imported goods to our stores. You know what I'm saying? It should
Yeah.
cost more to buy something from
It should.
somewhere else than to
should.
buy something made in your backyard. I
The
don't understand that. I mean,
It's a
what, we have to
double-sided sword too. Yeah, it's a double-sided
Yeah.
sword because we have a regulatory state which requires a 40-hour work week, X, Y, and Z. OSHA's up your ass. There's
But
no ocean in China. Yeah, and then
yeah,
we're getting
exactly. We're
yeah,
paying for
yep,
exploitation.
yeah,
Like,
yep.
come on, man. That iPhone or whatever the fuck I'm recording on an iPhone, a fucking child made this in a terrible place. And it's, you know what I'm saying? If I would have bought it, bought it here, somebody making it would have been $10,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to just, we just have it too good. You know what I'm saying? We have it too good that we're willing to accept the exploitation of these people for like, we kill animals and send it to China and then it comes back. Like, what is that? Like, why doesn't it come straight to us? Like, why do they process it and it comes back? Because it's cheaper to ship it across the ocean and have them process it than us to process it here, because we have to pay a living wage, a 401k, benefits. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
we got to understand that we're just being cheapskates on the whole. Listen, I love life and I love everything we got and I love the benefits. But if we have to cut back to give someone a living wage to make shoes or tables or whatever, instead of have these people in these foreign countries abused making it, because all we're doing is encouraging it. They're all for it. They have no other job. Yeah, we'll burn this plastic. Like, we don't care.
Right.
I don't know. That's just my opinion.
I definitely agree with some of those issues and some of the things that you pointed out. And I don't know the entire story, but I do know that we had a big shift in what was happening in the United States, right? We did have a lot of manufacturing here at home for a lot of things, whether that was textiles, making furniture, obviously cars, things like that. So something changed. So what was it? Now, that is what I don't have the full picture on, but I do know that you had people like Henry Kissinger, back to him, or Kissinger, making deals with China. And Xi Jinping and these people go way back. You know, these are like Yale buddies. So again, I don't know the full picture, but I'm saying that we did have that system where we had a lot of things manufactured here in the United States and something changed. And I would suspect, and I would say government fuckery, but I don't have all the details on that. But people are being perversely incentivized to buy, and not only perversely incentivized, but they're also being herded into it, right? Like, you see the rise of Walmart and things like that, and there's a reason for that, and it's not just American consumer bad. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't some of that, but I think there's a lot more going on that herded people into that, and it's probably a very multifaceted reason also, because the oligarchs or the government or whatever's happening in China, they got rich off of this too. They're getting rich off of slave labor too.
Yeah, it's
China.
it's the government's fault. It always is. Ultimately, it's the government's fault.
Yeah.
You put on all these agencies that try to protect us in the workplace, and you have higher wages, and you've got all these different things. And it's not just from, the federal government. You've got the state governments they have to put their stuff into, and the local governments and different things. You can't, it would take years to tease all these little bits and pieces out. But if you break all that stuff down, it's going to be cheaper, probably. Now, I can't say with 100% accuracy that it would be cheaper to do everything here than it would be to ship it to China, because there is probably a cultural, more organic aspect to this, where Americans want to live better. That's just kind of how we're used to this kind of life. So we're gonna go out of our way to make things safer in our workplace or something. We'll probably do those things anyway. So it's going to be a little more expensive here, just because that's how we live, than say in a very poor South American country.
Right, and to defend the libertarian position, I mean, with a true free market, without the OSHA, EPA, IRS, X, Y, and Z. Name your three-letter agency. The scales even out. I mean, there is an economic truth. If American muscle is only willing to work 40 hours a week and Peruvian muscle is willing to work 80 hours a week, then Peruvian muscle will win out on sheep wool or X, Y, and Z. Like there will be an equilibrium, but I agree it is ultimately government fuckery here, there, and everywhere. Like globally, more or less.
Yeah. It's our government, but it's our. You know what? If you want to look at it from, I'm not a normie, but if you want to look at it from a normie perspective, our government probably does the fuckery that it fuckeries with, because all the other governments are doing fuckery and they have to compete with the other governments. Not
Are you not
necessarily.
a normie?
I'm just saying, it's not just our government; it's all the other governments too, and it's kind of just a big shit show.
We all know that you're a normie, Keel. Let's not deny ourselves.
You guys can believe whatever you want, but
We
I'm not
like
a
to
normie.
give Kilthor a lot of shit, but
So
he's aware.
with this whole thinking of how they're trying to get us to think, do you think our government is really involved in this? I almost feel like it's a world thing, because for the longest time I was like, the United States is trying to take over the world, but through this whole transition through a lot of things, I almost feel like it's way more reaching. Like this whole NATO and all this was like, why are we doing? Did you see what we just did on the 8th? We just gave Ukraine 4.5 billion, the largest contribution. I could send a link. I just saw it the other day.
We've all seen it.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like
In
what
this
are we
group, we
doing?
all know about the fucking billions
But
and
I'm
trillions
just
we're
curious
giving
on
Ukraine right now.
it's because I always think that the United States was the big bad guy trying to run the world. But when this Ukraine thing started happening, I feel like it's further spread out. Like there's a lot more control not on the United States. I just want to see if your guys' opinion on, do you get who is really pulling the strings behind this whole new world order? Who is the one? Who is the country? Who is the man? Who are the people? Something, because I was
this
completely wrong
planet-
where I was guessing.
This planet is ruled by a small group of people whose names we will never know.
Ooh, Kilthor get real deep. I didn't expect that from you.
They are the real power in this planet, probably in this solar system. I couldn't say, but
And that also
we
are
will never
part of
know for sure.
9/11?
They orchestrate the broad strokes, would be my guess, and they hand down. They say we want the world to go to spin this direction, and then their subordinates deal out actions as they feel appropriate. That would be my guess.
Including
But
9/11?
for how
Maybe.
long?
I don't know.
I mean, how long have they been trying to get it right?
Ooh,
know what
good.
I'm
That's a
saying?
good one. That's a
Like,
good
what do you
question.
want? Like,
I
It's-
think it's a long
just
time.
use everything for
It's
my
right.
life.
It's right now.
I think it's
guarantee you that.
I think
I
it's
do
been a
too.
long time that they have been working on this. I would be curious I would be curious what y'all think about that. Especially, I know that Jackie and Perm have done a ton of podcasting, listening to this kind of stuff. I would be curious what you think. I mean, I think there's something to ancient families. And then I think that there are other institutions that are valid for questioning. I think, do you look at Masons or whatever? Now, I have also heard it posited that these types of Masons and all that, the conspiracies associated with them are a distraction. And I think that's a possibility also. But something definitely something is afoot. I do think that America has fallen. I think it's completely co-opted. I do not think it's America at all. I mean, this is the one world government. I think that's obvious, as we have said about a lot of other things, for anybody with eyes to see. You don't have every government towing the line for the exact same type of COVID policies, or just very slightly different COVID policies, unless they have the same boss, you know. And if you went against that, or if you go against the main narrative for any other country, you are about to get a gift of democracy, or your president or whatever is going to meet some sort of strange end.
I think you mean our democracy.
Yes.
Democracy. That word
is bad.
triggers me.
It triggers me
It's
too,
bad
because
word.
we're a republic. We're not a
No,
democracy.
we're not a republic either. They want us to
Oligopoly.
think
We started off as a republic,
We're
but
supposed
we'll
to
have
be.
another.
we're supposed to be
That's
a
what I'm saying.
republic. We
Oh,
It
have
hasn't
an,
been that way since Lincoln.
we have an
It
oligarchy.
hasn't been that way since Lincoln.
Yes.
Bingo. Maybe even before. Yeah. You have
The
some people
major
that think
corporations in this country.
Well, why do you think the United States is written in all capital letters? Because it's a corporation. It's not a.
Forget about that.
Okay.
But they want us to think that we're a democracy, and then they say, and then past that we're a republic, but we're actually an oligarchy. The giant corporations pay the politicians to make sure that nobody has a chance to come up in an actual like free market capitalist state. Like
They
if
can I hop in real quick too?
absolutely Toons.
They
I
do
want
not.
you.
They don't count the votes. That is dog shit. Your vote does not matter. They don't count the votes. Even if they did count the votes, like George Carlin said, if voting made a difference, they'd make it illegal. Like, it's just big money. Big money is putting their fucking vice grip, just cranking it down on us little by little, little by little by little by little. That's it. I mean, the whole myth of land of the free is it's fucking hilarious if you.
We all get a last closing statement, because I would like to put a bow on this thing. If you guys
Hop up.
It's a good, good myth, though. I like that myth.
I just want to say, with what you guys are saying, I agree and disagree with both of you on all aspects. I would love to debate with Ashley. I like that the think, change, repeat. I think I'm going to steal that and put that on my stuff, because that's a very, very good saying. But all that saying, I like where our minds are going and everything, but I just really feel like that it is corporation controlled, but it's more media controlled. It's more, there's so much inflection to what they're doing to try to manipulate us as a mass, as a people, as a community. They're trying to segregate, they're trying to divide us, and I don't know what way they're trying to do it, but they're using every tactic, and whatever they can do to separate us is what they're going to do. So as long as we could figure out how to not accept the division that they're trying to cause between us, I think we can overcome this, because it's going to be like, oh, you're vaccinated, I'm not vaccinated, oh, stay away from me, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? There's multitudes of ways that they have to attack us. Yeah. So, but all that being said, I don't know where my point was going, but I just had to say that.
Well, one of the big questions people ask that I've noticed is, what can I do what can we do to fix this? What can I do? I think you're right. I think you just have to reject that kind of that partisanship, that identity politics stuff in your own life, and try to make an influence on your friends and family and neighbors, and try to gently coax them out of that as well. I think that's probably all we can do, short of, taking up arms and doing crazy stuff that won't explicitly be talked about on this podcast, I hope.
I think instead of taking up arms, it is ideal that we all make our own islands as free as possible, and then at some point our islands merge with other islands, and then islands turn into states, and states turn free. That's at least my strategy. I bought my hill, and this is the hill I'm going to die on. So I've got my garden and my chickens, and
Dudes, can I come kick it at your place for a while or what?
I got an extra bedroom. It's just one. I know you.
I only need one. Can I come
Yeah.
kick it with you for a week?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hell yeah.
I think as a collective, we need to be as free as possible as an individual. Does that make sense? Direct action is never going to work because they have the technology to destroy our bank accounts, to drone strike our house, to
Oh my god.
shut off our Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
to X, Y, and Z. It has to be a more passive approach to where I'm going to live my life as far as I can to ignore taxes, to ignore DOT, FBI, CIA. I'm going to
ATF.
ATF is going to kill me, by the way, as I'm fucking looking at my tobacco plants. ATF will raid me and kill me.
Well, we're
But-
going to rebuke
Bro,
that
you're
statement.
gonna make me
We're
super
not gonna
sad.
We're not going to speak that into
run some
existence.
Ruby Ridge shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not
Yeah,
going to speak
yeah,
that into existence. We're going to rebuke that
What are we
statement.
doing here? Positivity.
No,
I'll
I
edit it out later.
I should say it with my fucking tobacco plants right behind me.
Yeah, but ones that are for personal use that you're not.
I'm growing my own cigars right here.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Nice.
That are for personal use.
Can I get some seeds? I want to
Yes,
try
sir.
myself.
Yes, sir.
It's
Send me
too
some
cold where
onions.
you're at.
It
I think-
ain't that cold here. It's pretty
I'm just
average.
kidding. I'm only joking.
What? It's pretty cold.
It can't be any colder than New Hampshire, right? I mean,
Been
you guys
like
gotta have-
fucking 80 degrees here for the last 3 months.
yeah, you guys gotta
80?
have a similar climate to us.
That's a cool summer, buddy.
Do we say sign offs right now? What are we doing here?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do
All
that.
right. Go around the line.
We did start a little late, but yeah, we're gonna go ahead and do that.
Oh, I don't know. I'm just trying to keep it flowing.
Yeah,
Well, we didn't do intros, so we might as well do outros, right?
yeah. So
Ooh, I
let's go ahead
like
and do that. I am going to say this though, that because I am a Christian, is that from the standpoint that the Lord says to be fruitful and multiply. And I always say this, that if he created us, then he has the ability to restore the earth, our ground, the weather, whatever it is that us humans live on and use, and they say destroy or whatever, but we try to be as, most of us really try to do our best to try to be kind to the earth, and through technology and stuff like that, it's just gotten better. So in regards to but the enemy Satan likes to create division and toxic, and he likes to say there is population control. So a lot of people that are Christians, if they're really a Christian and they read their Bible, or at least know the highlights of it like I do, they will at least know that, hey, the Bible talks about being fruitful and multiplying, and the Lord created everything. So why can't he just continue to keep restoring whatever it is that we're using? So that's my sign off. My name is Jacqueline, ATL Connector, and I have a podcast called Swipe Right Rehab. And then we have another one that is launching called You Are Loved. And that is around kindness. And our first episode was Power of the Spoken Word, which is why I just got on Toons. All right. Whoever wants to go
What's
next.
up, everybody? This is Big Perm. I love all of you. And this is the Union of the Unknowns. Because nobody knows who the fuck we are anyway.
Exactly.
We love everybody. And my boy Jay Will's on tonight. And the last episode, he's on episode 3 and 4. And he has a podcast called carbonated concepts. They have about 85-ish episodes, so check them out. But we all love you guys. We love each other, and we've been spending a lot of time on Discord with each other, so take care.
I feel like that was a good intro for me to jump in. This is Jay Will from the Carbonated Concepts. I did a podcast, jumping in, double dipping. These people are amazing. Thank you guys for having me. I can't be nothing more than appreciative. I've got to ramble my thoughts and talk all this crazy shit. These fucking globalists, I swear. But realistically, through everything that I'm trying to say, we got to break these barriers. We got to learn to talk to one another as human beings. You're allowed to disagree, people. If you don't agree, doesn't mean it's your enemy. You can just, hey, I don't like tomatoes. You know what I mean? It's just like that. You're okay. You don't have to hate each other. Whatever. We just have to learn to work as unison. They broke us. Let's build back together. That's all I gotta say. Love one another.
Build back better.
Build
That's
back
what you meant to say.
better.
All right. Well, I'm Keel or Keel Thor. Yeah, we're all liberty loving folks here, and I have a question though. You have your podcast is carbonated whatever. Are you prejudiced against nitrogenated beers or drinks?
I'm a cold brew fanatic. Guinness is my favorite beer. So okay. I mean, I think that's right. Is there any other ones besides Guinness? That's all I got.
Outside of the Corona that you were drinking earlier, but hey.
Yeah.
Oh, this one that I've been babysitting this whole podcast. Look, this is evidence for my wife. Tell her that I haven't drank that much. Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. My bad.
That's okay.
Nope. I'm done. Who's next?
Toons, you want to go? And then Ashley can close us out.
Toons from the free state of New Hampshire. We'll have to get deep dive on that libertarian question at some point again, Keel.
Yes.
I'm not sure if being good to one another is the best solution. There's still a lot of people wearing masks. There's still a lot of people that want me dead. So what am I supposed to do with them? But yeah, get some chickens, boys. Get some guns. Get some ammo. Make a lot of babies, and we will win in the end. Thank you.
Skull.
Okay, well, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Union of the Unknowns. We certainly appreciate it. And I did want to let you know that we are able to be contacted. We do have a Twitter account that is at Union Unknowns. Again, at Union Unknowns, so you can reach out to us there. We also have an email, which is unionoftheunknowns@gmail.com. So if you have any questions or comments or topics that you would like us to discuss, please feel free to reach out. We would love to have some interaction with folks that are listening, and we really appreciate your time very much. Thank you.
That's amazing. One last thing is, if you can, on your favorite podcasting platform where it does allow you to leave reviews, please leave us a 5-star review and write us a nice review or comment on something that you like the best. We're going to keep it positive, and then just feel free to reach out to us any other way. Have a fantastic.
Also, if you're looking for a new podcast, look for Carbonated Concepts. That's Carbonated Concepts. It's on every podcast app you can find.
Not nitrogenated concepts.
Carbon, nitrogen. But anyway, I just want to say realness wins. Stay real, folks.
All right, you guys, have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Bye,
Thanks,
guys.
everybody.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Union of the Unknowns. You can find a new episode every month on all your favorite podcasting networks.